What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Kryptonian saying here, bringing you guys a review for One Piece chapter 913. And yo, I gotta say, man, this was a fun ass chapter. This was a very fun chapter. I was a little hyped going into this chapter because, you know, you got Basil Hawkins and he's gonna be fighting up against Luffy and he's gonna be fighting against Zoro. So you got members of the worst generation ever fighting each other. And I was very excited to see where Oda was gonna actually take this, and I gotta say I am not disappointed. You know, when it comes to Hawkins, man, you know, like the last time I remember any real significance of the character of Hawkins is when you had that situation where you had Admiral Kizaru where he's going on the island and he's just hunting down all the members of the worst generation. He's just fodderizing everybody. And so for me, this was really cool to see how his actual powers work, because, you know, we had seen him and he had drawn the cards and everything, but, you know, that straw man fruit, that is good. That is good. That is good. And the reason why is it's freaking overpowered, man. It's freaking overpowered. Like, you get this moment where it looks like Zoro should have just taken this dude out, no difficulty. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, okay, how the hell's this dude got a bounty of 320 million berries? Like, Zoro just fodderized this dude like it wasn't nothing with one clean swoop. He's taking out all the people on the battlefield. And then that's when you find out that, like, hey, like when it comes to what Hawkins can do, he's able to infuse his body with his subordinate spirits, which is why no damage actually reaches his body. He says he can actually die 10 times over, which makes him absolutely freaking busted. And I think that kind of goes back to one of the themes that we've seen in One Piece, which is even something like a paramecia fruit. It's one of those things where depending on who's actually using it, it can be absolutely overpowered. It doesn't have to necessarily just be a Logia fruit in order for somebody to stand out and be absolutely dominant. It really depends on how you train and how you get accustomed to your actual devil fruit and how you're able to apply it in the battle situations that you're in. So I thought that this was a very welcome addition right here. I thought this was cool. You know, when it comes to Hawkins' design, I've always been a fan of the character, even though when I look at him, sometimes I'm wondering if my man's, you know, smoking that good kush. But what's so crazy about this is that, you know, Oda finds that good balance of giving you an overpowered opponent while also having you in a situation where Luffy and Zoro, they reunite for the first time, and just as you would expect, just as how it was going all the way back into, if I'm not mistaken, like chapter 4 or chapter 5, when you have the situation with Zoro with the Axe Hand Morgan stuff where Luffy and Zoro meet for the very first time. You know, it's a very serious situation. They got Tama there. She's burning up, and yet Luffy still finds a way to add that comedic aspect to it. I really think, and this isn't me capping, but I really think that Oda does the best job of combining seriousness with plot progression with the actual humor when it comes to characters. And again, what I like about Luffy and Zoro's relationship is how easily they play off of one another. So when everybody starts charging forward, Zoro's like, yo, that's a nice sword right there, man. Let me take a look at that. You know, Zoro's already scheming, man. My man's like, yo, Luffy, you don't know how to use a sword. You ain't never used a sword before. Even though I think my man Luffy actually used a sword on Thriller Bark, but that's after he became Nightmare Luffy. But you know, the fact is like Luffy typically don't fight with that. And sure enough, like Luffy, the first thing he does is like, oh, they're coming at me, Zoro, I know how to use a sword. And then he throws the scabbard all the way out there and hits one of the dudes on the heads. And Zoro's like, you fucking dumbass. That's not how you actually use a sword in battle. And Luffy says, yo, I got this. I'm gonna slice and dice these fools up. Don't worry about it, Zoro. And I like how Zoro is just looking like, please don't destroy this blade. That looks like a very beautiful blade. And Luffy even says like, yeah, you know, it's actually a really famous blade, but check this shit out. And that's when Luffy uses the gum pistol. You know, Oda just trolled the fuck out of me at this point, because when Luffy's saying gum, I'm like, oh shit, Luffy's gonna combine his devil fruit ability with actually using a sword in combat. This is gonna be so awesome. Nope, Luffy just has the sword in his hand and he's just knocking people out. That is fucking Luffy. That is Luffy right there, man. Like, you know, you just expect him to do crazy shit. And you get into this big free-for-all where you got the animals attacking the different pirates that are under Hawkins' command. They're attacking, and then that's when you get this really, really awesome scene where, you know, you see Hawkins where he's like, okay, -1 life. And at first when he said that, I wasn't sure exactly what was going on. And then when Hawkins broke down his ability, that's when you realize that this is going to be a much longer fight than you actually thought. You know, I was going into this thinking like, even though he's got that huge bounty, that it was going to be a situation like Bellamy because of how powerful Luffy and Zoro are, where Hawkins, for anybody else, might have been a formidable fighter. Going up against these two monsters, he stands absolutely no chance. And what I like in this moment here is that, you know, earlier in the chapter, it kind of pays off what happened earlier in the chapter where Luffy's like, yeah, I know who runs this island is Kaido. I'm about to kick this dude's ass and drag my dick across his face. So what, bitch, if you work for him, I got something for you. Like, I love it when Luffy just gets to talking that shit. And what you get here is the fact that, you know, Hawkins looks at it and says like, look, we're going to play a game right now. And that's when you find out with these cards that he's drawing, when he's like, you got less than a 19% chance of being alive 1 month from now. You realize that, you know, those cards, it's almost like a tarot reading where it's not necessarily set in stone, but it's eerily accurate in some cases. And it's kind of one of those things to where Oda's using this character to kind of spook you out a little bit. And what I like here is that, you know, he draws these different cards and you get this moment where Luffy and Zoro, they look like they're about to start doing battle after this huge Shinigami type of creature gets summoned by Hawkins. And then that's when all of a sudden Luffy and Zoro, they get snatched away. And you get this really beautiful moment where Oda, after drawing a huge page spread where you see the Carter pursuit, that Shinigami, and you see Zoro and he's like, look, Luffy, I'll protect the kid. You go ahead and get out of here. You get this really cool moment to where Zoro's even thrown back by the amount of power that's coming out of that straw Shinigami. So I thought that that was really good right there, because, you know, the thing that you see is the fact that Hawkins did say that this thing's gonna be more powerful than they realize, and then that's when nails just start shooting out of the straw Shinigami. So I thought that that part was cool, but I also like how Zoro, with just one swipe of his sword, just solos this damn thing. So again, it kind of goes back to the whole thing of Zoro and Luffy. If we really start looking at them, Zoro and Luffy have become insanely powerful. And it's one of those things where I'm going to ask my chapter question early, because Zoro's really impressed me here on Wano. My chapter question, I'm still going to do more of the review after this, but I have to ask this now while it's on my mind. So my chapter question is, if Zoro was the one who went to Whole Cake Island, let's just say Zoro does not get lost along the way, but Zoro's on Whole Cake Island, could Zoro have actually beaten Katakuri? I really want to know this, man. I really want to know this. I haven't really dived into looking what the power scalers say for One Piece and everything. I don't really give a fuck what the power scalers have to say about One Piece, but I'm very curious to see what the fandom actually thinks about where Zoro ranks in terms of that power. I'm very curious, because I'm looking at Zoro, and Zoro's coming off like a badass motherfucker that you don't want to actually cross. Now, moving back into the chapter, I thought that Tsuru, when she shows up, I thought that that was really cool. I'm going to call her Tsuru because I know with a lot of the Japanese characters, sometimes the O is silent. So until I actually see some animated episodes, I'm going to call her this. But the thing is like, she shows up and she says like, look, you know, I know Tama, and I got to tell you, man, like, in order to fully take care of her, what you're going to need to do is, you don't need to take her to a doctor. You need to let me take care of her. You know, I can take care of Zoro. I can patch this dude up for you, and I can give her the tea. This tea is going to help her. It looks like she's been drinking water out of that lake, and because she drank that water out of there, she's gotten really sick. I know how to counter the poison. So it looks like this is going to be one of those things where we're going to get some of the world building as far as what's going on here on Wano. That's going to be interesting to see how Oda does that, if he goes the info dump style, or if Oda just kind of gives it to us in increments. That's gonna be interesting to see that part. And the other thing is, you know, it looks like Luffy got caught and found out, because you got people at the end of the chapter saying that it looks like Straw Hat, maybe we need to take care of him before he becomes a problem. So yeah, it's kind of funny that, you know, Luffy, upon getting on the island, has already been made twice in the same chapter. That's pretty damn hilarious. But so always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.